3 o'clock on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 is a meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. And we will start with the recitation.
I will read. This is to formally advise that as required by General Law, Chapter 38, Sections 18 through 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, the Yarmouth Community Preservation Committee will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Town Hall, Conference Room A. The public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided. And I will just quickly introduce David Giancopoulos. Did I say that correctly? Who is the new representative from the Yarmouth Housing Commission? Historical. Oh, what did I say? Housing?
I saw that.
I go YHC, Housing Historical. Historical.
No, I don't.
To the committee.
Thank you so much. Happy to meet you all and learn and see if I can be some help.
Do we have anybody on Zoom? Do we have to
Let's see.
introduce
Participants.
ourselves? Or-
I don't see Lee. Hopefully she'll join us when she's able. I don't know why we've got such a crummy camera angle too. It's
All right,
just showing
let's
two
go
of us.
around the table and introduce ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to do that as a roll call?
We'll do a roll call. Debbie Parks.
Judy Wilczynski.
Paul Hogan, President. David Giancopoulos.
And yes, that's historical. Christine Marzigliano, open space.
And here comes Drew.
We just introduced ourselves. If you just give your name and committee.
Luke Rouse from the Conservation Committee.
Thank you. Okay, the first item is the review on the warrant articles.
Everybody got a copy? Or anybody need a copy?
Have the memorandum. I assume this is for our appearance before the select board.
Yes, I added the recommendations made by Joanne last week. And the articles have already gone to the draft warrant that the select board reviewed last night, with the exception really of the article regarding Chasebrook Park, because it was noted that you had yet to approve that article.
Select board received it, so it was clear to them that the board physically hadn't approved the article.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's just go through each proposed section, article section. Anybody have any comments? The first one, of course, would be the housekeeping article, which I would introduce. And have any questions or comments? Okay. The second one is affordable housing. We'll be doing the explanation on that.
There is one, excuse me, there's one attendee, I don't know if it is Lee.
Oh, I see it. Jeff Colby. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. He's muted. Okay. All right, after affordable housing, then we will go into recreation. Any questions or comments on A, B, or C? We get to D. And in addition to repurposing it, I've given everybody the original warrant article from 2018, where the article states to authorize the Conservation Commission to assume the care, custody, and control and management of the property, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen and the Conservation Commission to enter blah, 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 blah. If we're amending this, I think we should amend it to correct it.
So it's correct as it
Pardon?
stands. It's correct as it stands. The Conservation Commission does manage the parcel. It also manages 1,800 other some parcels. But the Conservation Commission is a committee of volunteers. And whereas ownership falls on them, the town acts as a team and manages all those sites. The Conservation Commission is a group of 7 people, just like this board. So they don't do the management themselves. The town does it. In general.
But does the Conservation Commission enter into the agreements and like the management of the property? I thought that was DPW.
So the, as the town, yes, so DNR and DPW do the management and maintenance work for all of the Conservation Commission owned parcels.
I don't think this is clear.
I think it's pretty clear, Christine.
You can't
And-
have conservation doing Yankee Village and DPW doing the satellite and then merge all 3 into one.
The DPW is doing all 3. So maintenance as a function is at the direction of the town administrator. Town administrator, and I gave you all a memo, because I know Paul too, you would ask for kind of like the step-by-step background. Administrator who's gonna delegate who's doing the maintenance. They're in charge. It doesn't make sense for conservation to be doing maintenance when they're a
Well,
staff of
What's the
one.
difference between management and maintenance?
I think that if there's a complaint, the Conservation Commission would certainly be involved. But the Conservation Commission isn't gonna go out there and mow. They don't have the funds. The town isn't organized that way. The DPW takes care of our properties.
So the maintenance is gonna be in DPW's budget.
Yes. And so I mentioned in the memo that I gave you all, I walked you through because it was a little confusing last time talking about the funds. And so I walked you through how we get to the 368,755 that we want to be able to use across the 3 parcels, not just on the Yankee Village parcel.
Well, I do have a problem with the original wording of the article. I mean, this article even had to be amended the following year to get the proper language in order to get the park grant, so it's been amended before,
It was boilerplate, and I just don't think that it's practical to amend it.
I think it was boilerplate for a conservation parcel, not a park parcel. And I think that's where the error came in.
Well, I think that's why we redid it in 2019 and added just a simple piece, just to add the purpose. The purpose needed to change so that it could be recreation. And the purpose of all 3 articles includes passive recreation. It's in the conservation restrictions. It's fine.
Well, you
The town council reviewed all of the pertinent information.
And did you ask town council?
I have asked town council. I haven't gotten a response back, Christine.
Well,
with your-
then I think
with your
I think
question.
this should be deferred then until we hear from town council. I don't think that the original wording perhaps wasn't the proper wording for this park
I-
parcel.
Well,
It's a
I'm
part
happy to,
that's
I'm
subject
happy
to
to
con-
ask him, I'm going to respectfully disagree. And think that it's,
I think one
it's
way of
just
getting around
challenging.
this is just defer the until fall town meeting, until we get everything straightened.
Well, we'll be entering into contracts, so I think if there's an issue with the funding and repurposing the funding, that's what I'd be curious about, because we didn't talk about this before. So is there an issue with the 368.7?
I'd like let's go around and ask everybody's opinions.
Can I just step back for just
Mhm.
even further? Because I missed the last meeting. So in 2018, money was appropriated for the purchase of,
275.
okay. And was it boilerplated to put the words in to authorize conservation commission?
Yes.
For the care, okay, so that's was done for all property. So now there's monies left over for 275.
Right.
But now you want to use that monies. The rest of the monies were used for the purchase price. The money that's already been used was purchase price and anything else?
The money, so $975,000 was appropriated from the CPC. The purchase price was $950,000. And then we got a $400,000 grant from the state for acquisitions. We've used some money, I think it's not $200,000, it's probably barely $150,000 for design and permitting on the Yankee Village site. Now, to illustrate
Right.
the reason why we want to do this at all, we don't have to do it. We can leave it right where it is and we'll manage internally with the budgeting. This was to make it easier for us. Because right now, when we get a bill for the park, the
Right.
3 sites, we have to kind of divvy that
Divvy up
bill up
what's what, okay.
into the 3 pieces.
So the CPC gave 950. Is that what you just said?
975.
975. Okay. And this was other monies left over from. So the maintenance of that 275 site has been under the DPW since it was purchased.
That's right.
And they take all expenses for that in their budget.
It would be in their budget, yes.
Right. Okay.
We can't use the CPC. for that.
Right, yeah, no. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm still, head cold brain. At my age, it takes longer. So to request, so the thing is, this money is just left over from 7 years ago.
Yes,
So it was never pulled in, like we have a 3-year, whatever, 3-year limit to use the monies. Nobody ever pulled it because this is a longer, well, I'm just
it's
trying
an
to
active project.
active, yeah, so it was longer. Okay.
Town projects historically.
Yeah, take longer, so it wasn't gonna be within the 3 years. Okay. So if this doesn't get transferred to to the site for the recreation project section, it will just still sit there forever.
And it will be used for 275 Route 28 only,
For what?
for the site improvements.
For this, okay. Thank you.
The article was
Well, I have,
acquisition and site improvements.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Debbie?
I'm confused, but I do agree with what you said. And I think probably to wait on this until town meeting or after to find out all the,
And when if we get it clear up by next week, I mean, I
Yeah,
just
well-
like town council, I
Karen,
I'm
You
happy,
do
I
her
sent
job.
town council and email, I wanted to give you the memo.
Yep,
yep.
That Paul had asked for last week.
Mhm.
And provide some background on why we need to, why we wanted to repurpose the funds so that they could be used across the 3 parcels.
Well, I'm
the
surprised the town
question-
council didn't get back to you yet.
this all came up at the last minute, so.
When it says here, I've spoken to the town council and he's recommended the attached article to accomplish
He
this request.
For the
So-
transfer of the funds.
he's approved the form of the article and he sees no problem with reallocating the fund. There were concerns previously, the concerns that had been raised was that we couldn't use the money across the 3 parcels. But it's not an issue. We've talked about that with council.
Okay.
If it's, if,
Absolutely.
right.
But the question from Christine about the you know, I think this was a late yesterday afternoon conversation.
It
And
says the Conservation Commission assumes the care, but
It's
the
not.
Conservation
Okay.
Commission can't
Yeah, we
assume such.
assume like the general management.
Yeah.
Where the.
And that's a
Well,
problem
yeah.
because
Well, we can ask Jeff,
what would happen?
Jeff, can you unmute?
Brittany's
We
point
have a
is that we have
couple others.
1,800 acres.
The question is, does DPW or does the Conservation Commission enter into the agreements for the maintenance of the park? Is it DPW or Conservation that enters into the agreements?
I'm not sure about the agreements, but I will say that maintenance of town parcels and parks falls under DPW. I'm trying to follow the conversation, but I think I'm missing pieces of it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so as Brittany brought up, I think, there are several conservation areas in town. They are managed and, under the auspices, I guess, of the Conservation Commission, because they're referred to as conservation property. But, he hasn't asked me to go and mow anything yet. Right? So I
Is that
think
not
we
Be
have.
careful what you wish.
Yeah, well, I'll be okay.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Ask the page.
Well, usually when the conservation areas need something done, it's natural resources that comes in and.
Well, natural resources
Yes,
or.
that's
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of the town, I think, because also, right, because conservation will enter into an agreement for invasives management.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
necessarily DPW, that's Brittany, because she knows about invasives.
Or for example, if all of a sudden, let's say the town wanted to do something on conservation property,
Mm-hmm,
it would have to go before the.
still has to go before the
Yeah.
commission.
For the applicable, laws and
Mhm.
regulations having to do with the wetland protection or whatever. So even though it's not about maintenance in terms of taking care of, trees and this, that, and the other thing, it seems that there is, there kind of does, enter into activities having to do with, as it says, care, custody, control, and management of the property. So I'm okay with that.
But this isn't a conservation area, this is a park.
Well, but it's being
Yeah.
deemed in this verbiage to be, it
Conservation.
says something, because it's confusing, but let's see.
Yeah.
A perpetual conservation restriction.
Oh, right.
So so a lot of properties have conservation restrictions. And correct me if I'm wrong, but very often having to do with, private citizens, having land that where conservation restrictions are attached to that land to protect it. Is that correct?
Well, I'm president of the Yarmouth Conservation Trust. There's 3 categories of properties that have conservation restrictions on them. The trust owns about 100 acres. There's privately owned property, about
Yeah,
100 acres, and then the town has about 150 acres. So there's about 350 acres with conservation restrictions on that are owned differently.
well, isn't it owned differently?
Well, this is a town-owned property.
Yeah.
This is one of the
Or you
town-owned
mentioned
pieces.
town.
Pardon?
Did you just mention town owned?
Yes, 150 acres, about approximately.
So again, I don't know why this would be.
Do this, of course, but as I read it, it seems to say that the Conservation Commission has an oversight role for custody and control management. Authorizing the Board of Selectmen. Conservation Commission to enter into agreement. And from my point of view, as long as thinks that this doesn't deviate from what you're.
Well, we don't have that ruling yet.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but as long as he doesn't
Okay.
in response to Karen,
Then
I think that's.
I'd like to see it in writing, yeah.
So,
Do it already and said that he finds no problem with it as it stands. It was before your specific question was asked to him, but he did review it in its entirety for context and. the content.
Happy to get the answer from him, though. Happy to.
So if you get the.
It could be in my mailbox right now.
Let's go. Get it out over here.
2 minutes, you want.
So if we do approve this and we say transfer the money, it will be used for site improvements
Correct.
at the site.
Site improvements at the 261
All three
275,
parcels, yeah, 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 yeah.
281,
So open
For
it
the
up,
entire-
okay,
Chase Brook
Just
Park.
make
Okay.
billing much.
yes.
It's, the example is if we get a sidewalk bill.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we have to do the math to kind of, you know, and we can do the math, happy to do math.
Okay.
But we'd have to break it out into.
To the three
different
parcels,
Funding parcels, so that we
Okay.
know we're only spending
Okay.
the old, Article 22 money
Okay.
on 275.
So if, let's say, Friday, what's today, Wednesday, Friday, Monday's a holiday. If we have a meeting next Wednesday, you have to post it by Tuesday, the early.
Friday.
Friday.
So let's say you get an answer. We can always schedule a meeting next week by Zoom, not have to come in if this is the only thing
You know that?
on the agenda.
Another
You could,
option,
you
if I
could,
could suggest
oh,
it.
go ahead, David.
I would just suggest that it's like this, sometimes what is done is to say, well, we think we have an understanding of
Yeah.
what this is and what the answer is gonna be. And we could approve it subject to
Based
the
on-
town council coming, we could approve it today with the understanding that the
Stipulation.
town council
Yeah.
comes back with the answer.
Subject to the town council's
I like that.
concurrence.
Yeah, because then we don't have to do Zoom.
You could do it that way. Yeah, I mean, we hate to have a meeting, but
Not really.
we don't have a ruling on it.
That's all
And I think
You
it's
say that now.
a little, but I think just needs clarification.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if I just have another question. So let's say this exists and you feel that it might cause a problem down the road. Could you explain what that problem would be?
I think I think that to have two parks under DPW and one park under conservation, and then you're gonna merge them all is not as efficient as it could be.
I see. Okay.
If that's
Well,
probably.
I mean.
Except
we-
DPW is
It
gonna
should-
be
it
taking.
should all be
care of
the
three
same.
sites.
It
So
should all
the
be the-
DPW though, it sounds like would be in charge of all three sites.
Yes.
Nothing to take away from you, Brittany, sorry.
Right.
No, I mean, this is-
All subject to my rules and regulations under the wetlands.
There you go.
And the Arctic bylaw, so I would
Okay.
need to review all their work anyway.
This is a
I
park
took note
that's,
of what you said. The town has opted for a team approach.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like to me.
Yeah.
To me, it
Yeah.
seems clear. It doesn't seem like a problem.
because we have a park that's on the
Okay.
water, so there are a lot of conservation restrictions involved with
Right.
creating the park.
Right.
These are important.
So, as we go through these, we will come back, are we gonna approve each one separately or as a bulk? So let's say, whatever, when we get to this article for recreation projects, we would, even though this is highlighted, we would just approve or disapprove all four. Do you know what I'm
Are
saying?
you talking
At
about
town
today
meeting?
or at town meeting, Judy?
Well,
Because
are
you
we
just-
presenting, we're not, this isn't on the warrant yet, because it's in
It's been
yellow.
included in the warrant with the yellow on it. Just.
Oh,
we
okay.
gave it all and.
So if we wanted to take away the yellow.
Yeah.
Like, then we would have to approve that separate from the others that we've already approved.
If you've approved.
Is
the
this,
others, have the
does
others all
this
been
need to
approved,
be?
Summer?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The
then
others-
that one would require.
that one
a-
would
a
require,
separate
okay,
vote.
all right, thank you. I'm done. Okay.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Historical is the next page. Any other comments, concerns, the numbers all check out?
Yeah, let me just, that's the last time we agreed that I would help with the reading of these at the meeting. So if you want to, obviously you're welcome either to take over completely. Together. What happens is that you read the article and then, or basically say, as printed in the warrant.
Yeah, yeah.
The article printed in the warrant.
Right.
And then there'd be an explanation process. Okay, for each one, the way this is laid out. Explanation, and I or you or we would read the article, the explanations and anything. We'd go to some. Explain the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
good. Yeah, we can talk about it more if you wish.
Okay, excellent, yeah.
So I would just keep saying, Paul will answer that question. Paul will answer that question. I just said, this gentleman over here will answer that question.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
Are they, sorry, are they written differently this year? Does it just seem crisper and cleaner to me? Or is it me and just, I'm paying more attention this year?
You pay more.
I'm paying more attention,
Yes.
okay.
you and
Very
your
well.
last year.
I know, yeah.
It is crisper.
It's
I think
different, yes.
that's a nice way to put it,
Yes.
because of the way we've worked with the finance department to do the budgeting.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to put it into a table and there's no sentence in there that X comes from the historical reserve and Y comes from the
Right,
undesignated.
yeah.
It's just,
The explanation, everything,
Yeah.
the presentation, the explanation, the
And-
diagram just seems to really.
credit to Don Marie for very succinct explanation.
Yeah. Thank you.
You gotta
You're
lay
welcome.
with words.
After you're done writing, cross out half the words and then you're finished.
Any other comments on historical? Open space reserve article? Other questions, comments, etc.? And the following article is the land bank legal balance transfer. Any other questions or comments on that?
Thank you.
All right, well, does anybody want to make a motion similar to what David suggested for that Article D on the Chasebrook Park?
I move that the committee approve the CPA Recreation Project B for Chasebrook Park to transfer $368,755 from Article 22 of the 2018 annual town meeting based upon approval from town council.
I second it.
Long enough for you?
We're on Zoom, so we'll have to go on a roll call.
Yep.
Debbie?
Yes,
Yes.
Judy, yes.
I,
Christine, aye. And we would need another motion for all the other articles.
I think you
No,
approved them
the
all
others
last.
were-
Yeah.
yes.
We did that last week.
Right,
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
So it was just that one.
You said,
Pardon?
you said on the next item?
I'm all set. I
Mhm.
was, the only thing I have for committee reorganization at this time is again welcoming David. And I don't know, have you been sworn in yet?
I was one in the historic-
Okay, because I got a copy of a letter from Pam, I think that's gonna probably going to you today to come to the town clerk and get sworn in for CPC.
Yeah, done.
So welcome. And
Welcome.
so for the moment, we are almost complete board. But that'll change after town meeting.
Right, right. I just want to say, you have to take a look at each other. Somebody, two of you gonna have to step up and be the chair and vice chair of this wonderful committee. It's been an honor to serve with you. Each of you. I'm sorry.
So you said I'm an interview, but I make it.
I didn't have tissues this time.
Everybody here has taken their fiduciary responsibility so seriously, and you've all brought in your life experiences, your committee experiences. It's always interesting to listen to each person's sometimes different points of view and everything in order to get a consolidated, opinion on everything that we're doing. I was very proud this year that all of the applications were heard fairly, equally. We brought every application up to date so that every application was heard, this under the same auspices, And according to the CPA legislation, which, we've distributed to everybody. So it's truly been an honor. I guess, our next meeting will be before the selectmen, whenever they choose to, call us in. And if you could attend that meeting, it's always helpful. They might have some questions, and it's always good, not just to have a chairman present it, but to see these
Present.
selectmen don't see the committee members.
Mhm.
And that's their one opportunity to see everybody that's on the committee. I think that's always helpful, especially to the selectmen,
Mhm.
And
Well, I
then,
would like to thank you for your knowledge of everything and persistent
Mhm.
and
thank you.
all from the heart too.
Thank you. So you'll have to be thinking about who's going to be stepping up, it's very interesting.
I've already
I
done
know.
it for years.
Close friendships,
I have an idea about appointing the newest people on the committee to run the committee. But,
People who know the least.
Your phone's ringing.
but it's certainly a learning curve, but, Christine, I just want to thank you also. You're a person, as I kind of found out, who really rolls up her sleeves and looks at all the details of things, and, I admire that. But the thing is that, you do that, and you're very serious about it, you're serious about protecting, the response. We're, proceeding in a thank you very much for that. Not only for me, but I think that there are a lot of people in this town who benefit from that kind of thing. So
Thank you.
thank you very much.
It's a good point.
Very detailed.
Gary was quite a mentor.
Yeah.
Certainly was.
It's Christine, from the perspective of a newcomer to the town, it's only been 2.5 years, but from my perspective on the Chasebrook Park, you've been the longest and strongest champion of this, sort of like willing the project forward. And I think that goes a lot to the efforts and diligence and stick-to-itiveness and never give up idea.
Well, I used to have all those photographs too. A lot of the photographs I had helped getting that federal grant.
It did.
Is that money in the bank?
It has been awarded. Yeah, it has been awarded. We haven't spent any of it yet because it's allocated specifically for the water quality aspects of construction, and we're not, you have to get past
Yeah,
hiring a
that point,
contractor and
right.
getting going for that. But it's coming. And I was speaking with the Region 1 EPA administrator, and she really likes the project. I mean, she was at the ceremony and says, it's our best one.
Well, that's good. If you weren't at the, I know Judy was there, it was interesting. It was, I think, 5 grants
Yes.
were
correct.
named, but they chose they chose Mill Creek Park to have the ceremony. So that was
Yeah.
quite a feather in our cap, Very nice.
Yeah, good. So thank you for all those efforts. Definitely.
And look at the Sunday Cape Cod Times.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Did you hear from Susan yet?
I did.
Good.
I know Susan personally.
Cape Cod Times got tipped off through the last permitting hurdle, which was the Cape Cod Commission's development of regional impact. We sought an exemption. We were successful in getting the exemption, Cape Cod Commission review.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes. But Susan read about it there and reached out to Nate. So gave a little tour yesterday.
In the snow.
It looks so different in the snow. It was cold. It was really cold.
She was surprised at the maintenance issue at Chasebrook Park.
Great.
She said she couldn't walk down because the snow wasn't cleared,
Well, no.
Joe bringing shovels at least or something?
Jump the snowbank.
There you go.
One of my interests is in the maintenance of the passive parks.
Well, I actually, to that end, Jeff Colby brought up an interesting point this morning, and that was that the the select board specifically approved future maintenance for the Parkers River Landing. I think I'm using the right words there. Hard to keep up.
Just wait, it'll change again.
Yeah, yeah.
Parkers River Landing, so they're, no, the point being that they understand that the key to the success of a new park is long-term maintenance. And so we expect the same to be, for Chasebrook Park. Once it comes online, that we'll be keeping tabs on and approving budgets for maintenance if we don't have the budget in place.
I'll only be 85 years old. Oh, God. Okay, Karen and I were, Karen had contacted me about some way of honoring Gary. She had suggested perhaps one of the planks at the park.
That place at 669 Route 28.
That used to be the Riverwalk
Right.
Park, the old drive.
And I had mentioned that in his obituary, they had asked for, where it is it here? In lieu of flowers, the family kindly requests donations to the Yarmouth Firefighters Relief Association for the Wild Care Cape Cod. And I was just wondering what anyone would think would be appropriate, would be
Well,
nice.
The walkway, the whatever, the bricks, the pot, that's gonna be another,
Boardwalk.
that's gonna be another couple of years.
It's actually, so Kathy Williams in my office is kind of spearheading
Right.
that project, at least for now, and then it's getting all the way over to DPW. And they're actually working on the planks.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're, my understanding is they are engraving them in kind of batches of 50 at
Yeah.
a time. So I think the first two sets have gone off because
So
they're
people have already
ready to
bought them.
install.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
but, the park won't be open until, I don't know, later this summer, or I can't remember the opening date. Either anybody?
I think it was late summer.
Yeah, it's not that far out.
Is that something that his family would?
I
Oh,
don't know, and kind of cost wise, I think, what was it, $350?
Mm-hmm.
Where I emailed it, it's $350 for an engraved plank. You are limited to 24 characters, including the icons that you can put on, you can put like a print or a heart, something like that. And I do know that there's one for Mike Stone been included. And I think that Mike Stone was
Right.
a former select board chairman, David, and in our hearts, Mike Stone or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but the thing you have going for you is Gary had a short name.
Yeah, sorry, David, you won't ever gonna have a plank.
Yeah.
It's like me. I was a notary public. I hated my married name because it was so long.
I think Gary was very big into the Cardinals, the
Yeah.
Red Sox,
Love nature.
and
He loved
books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I just threw it out there because we had talked about, does the committee want to get together and do something as a group or whatever? I really kind of stepped back. I just had the idea of the plank. We were talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
planks. Came up with Gary, but,
Well, one
it's all up to you guys. what
One
you
thing
wanna
we
do.
found out Friday night was, we all knew he was an architect.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he also liked to paint.
Yes.
And
Oh,
he had
God.
100 boards. He would just take a board and make a scene on it, or perhaps this is what he did on weekends when he was camping,
I
and we
heard
were
from
honored.
someone, it was a big COVID activity for him.
always out. But, I was fortunate to get one of his paintings, Never knew that he was also
No.
in town art.
If anybody wants to see one, I took one and we put it between Don Ray and myself over my door. Just watch out.
A man of many, a man of many talents.
Yes,
he was.
indeed, indeed.
Is there any way that, you know, like, like,
And that's all.
vessel? And they're all pretty much the same, you know, I mean, not in terms of words, but you have to look for your plane.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you do.
Is there any way for Mike Stone as well as Gary or anybody else who's, given so much to the town to make those planks for those individuals just a little different than the ones that are purchased by the general
I
public?
don't know.
I don't know what
It's
you
a,
would
it's a
do.
good question. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
Can I
you know,
tell you?
hopefully that's the only two, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
people were talking also, because Mike was on the rec committee, and he was the chairperson. And people were even talking about naming, like you said, a plaque, but I heard from someone in town hall, even Matikes. Well, he was very big into recreation and coaching and stuff like this, you know. So they were, or even the hearing room.
I mean, that would make sense for Mike, yeah,
Hearing room.
but I'm not getting into any naming discussions with anybody at all,
The
period.
plaques that we had done for Mary Ann and George, what did those run, about 100?
Yes,
That's amazing.
Well, yeah, but his family, I mean, it's a plot, I mean, yes, it's a lovely idea, but I would, for Gary, I think having the boardwalk plank would be, because more people are gonna see it. I mean, it's not like they're gonna hang it in anywhere, so, just based price wise, so to do
Right.
something, to do the boardwalk for 300 to me is reasonable considering it was on this committee for 20-something years.
Did the, town pay for those plaques for like, George and where'd that money come from?
Out of our committee fund.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so it would
CPC
come out
funds.
of,
This committee?
We could,
Yeah,
look
came out of administrative.
what,
Oh, we have the committee.
if we're gonna do the board out of here, I just have to make sure it's appropriate.
Well, I was gonna
think it's-
say, you know, I mean, I'd be happy if the town came up with a little bit of money that I would, certainly contribute to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Conservation Commission,
Oh, you-
we purchased a couple
Yeah.
of chairs, okay, they're expensive.
Those were in that 300 and up
Yeah,
price range, I think.
State right now, I don't
They
need a
put
chair.
them
But anyway, I'd be happy to, and we always collect the money ourselves and so I'd be happy to do that and then let people chip in whatever they think they can or want, if you want to or not, it doesn't matter. That might
I
be
think that's a
what
great
it's-
idea, Paul. Yeah.
I'd like to
That'd
see,
be
I'd like to see a Red Sox on it, though.
Well, you can do that.
You can have a
do-
heart
you
on
can
one
do
side
that.
and a Red Sox on the other.
It would be nice.
So-
They're all very
Uh,
programmed. It's, are you getting the flyer
Yeah,
down
I'll
right?
give you the
There's info. The only, the choices are somewhat limited. It's a challenge, really,
Right.
because I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out what would be a good use of 24 characters
yeah,
for minus, you know, Gary is 4, Ellis is 5, there's
And a
a space in
space.
between,
So it's
so that's
10.
11.
Yeah.
And
Who makes the
the contractor
Oh.
for the boardwalk
thank
and
you.
the Riverwalk,
Oh,
the Parker's River.
is that who made the ones for basketball too?
No.
Different.
No,
Thank you.
I don't know who.
Yeah.
Have they advertised these already?
And you're all
Oh, yeah.
welcome to,
Yeah.
Oh, they've been
Oh,
everywhere.
that's
So
it? You
Please
can't do it.
yeah,
share with your friends.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is for anybody in town, out of town, wherever.
You're up, Gary.
So,
All right.
Cause I just happy, I said, does any of your son-in-laws have a truck that can pull the camper? for the
So we
weekend?"
can
She said, "Yes,
put
my-
this-
My son-in-law.
so could you check to see if it can come out of the administrative
Yes.
monies and let us know?
Yeah.
Okay, but I would suggest, I mean, I like the idea of the plan for
Yeah,
him.
good idea.
The what?
Plank.
I like the plank idea versus anything else. If we can check to just make sure it can come out of our administrative funds, that would be great. Thank you.
Or like Clover.
We can't have a camper on the Red Sox.
It is
so.
a weird choice. Gary would have liked B.
Or like. a
Instead of a
regular
Right,
size.
yes,
Shamrock.
and-
Well,
right.
but Shamrock only has 3.
No, we're pushing no bird.
Yeah,
It's
Can you ask them if there's any more?
Oh,
No,
I
actually-
believe,
So-
yeah,
You'll have to go down.
Well,
there
it's
with
just
your-
weird the ones they picked.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
not a lot of choices.
They didn't put a lot of thought into that.
No, really.
Okay. So you'll let us know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll just email you and then I guess leave it to you guys to
So. Go ahead.
kind of, maybe Del Marie can. be the-
yeah, we
the
can throw out
collection
some,
Source.
Yeah.
yep, and
And then you said Mary Ann left the committee?
she did.
See, I'm away for a week and I miss everything. Do we need to?
Yeah, I've got her plaque,
We did?
yes.
You didn't use chairman, but.
And I think I'm-
Oh, I would have heard about that one, honey. That one didn't
That would
happen,
be
trust me.
around town real quick.
So I'm gonna reach out to the housing authority and find out how
So she
she's
just
doing,
hasn't
where
done
she
it
is.
yet, then?
Right, and
Okay.
we thought we might see her on Friday night.
We brought it with.
We brought it with us, but I didn't
Okay.
see her, so
Mhm.
we're gonna get that taken care of for her. She was the,
We had George on Friday.
yeah.
night.
Oh, you did?
Nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 parts and thank you or something. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Ask them to come up.
It's just a poor selection, considering how many planks they're gonna make.
Well, I do.
I think
it's
it
not-
was
I
the
think these are
contractor's
probably better.
They're
limitations.
contractors, they're not
They're not
the
hard.
engravers, they're not the, like, if you hired somebody to do this
Right.
at a school, it would be a different company than the contractor. That they.
No. No.
He had a dog that he walked all around.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote on spending the money? No.
We gotta find out first.
Let's find out. I mean,
Yeah.
why don't you authorize,
Okay.
subject to approval from the accounting department, $350 for something. And someone here has to come up with 24 characters. And the icons count as 3.
What?
No,
Yeah.
Well, because spaces
There's
count.
Space, icon, space.
Okay.
we'll figure it out, okay.
It's like a
move-
puzzle.
I
Yeah.
move based upon, I move that the board purchase a plank in memory of Gary for $350 based upon using administrative fees from the committee.
How long was he on this board? Just, I'm
20
curious.
He was on as a Conservation Commission rep when the CPA was, enacted in
Yeah.
2005.
That's
Then in
20 years.
2010, he became at-large and chair. And then a different commission, conservation rep came on. So since the
Okay.
beginning, yeah.
Wow. Well, I second the motion.
No, let's go around with approval.
Yes, approve.
Oh, yes.
Judy, I.
Aye.
Christine, aye.
Great, thank you. I will get on that.
And staff.
For staff updates, we did hear back from Amanda, who's managing the Riverwalk, Parker's River Boardwalk Park. And she would be happy to organize a site visit, which is a little bit bittersweet now that, Gary can't be there, but I can throw out some dates for people. Maybe a Wednesday at 3:00 would be good.
Yeah.
And
Let's let the weather get a little
you
warmer.
want, you want, so definitely wait at least a week, because we got a lot of nasty weather coming.
Yeah.
But all right, I can try to organize that if everybody is still on board. Drew and Dave, I don't know if you've watched any of the videos, the drone video that's on the website front page.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at it. I would show it, but we're running along right here. And it's amazing what is going on there, but
Oh,
since we
yeah.
did, contribute a lot of money, We need to get out there and actually see it live and in person. But I agree, the weather, yeah, and you just don't know what March is gonna bring for weather, but maybe I'll try early March.
Mhm.
Okay,
So.
It's windy.
we'll try, maybe I'll try late.
I mean, we were
March.
on a site visit on the water and it was windy and
Yeah.
cold.
It's called.
Yeah.
Post St. Patrick's.
Is it,
Okay,
is it officially now, I thought you mentioned Parker River Landing? Is that kind of thing?
I think at the moment, that's what it is, yeah.
When did that, sorry, just now?
I think it was
2 weeks
last-
ago?
Yeah, a week ago.
Last Tuesday, yeah.
They had a laundry.
Parker's River Boardwalk Park.
Oh.
Do you have any other,
No. So-
I'd like to just
Any
give an
member?
announcement. There's going to be a meeting regarding Thatcher Shore Road culvert replacement. The meeting's on February 18th, 5 o'clock at the DPW offices. And this is to consider, there's 3 options being proposed. One is to replace the culvert. 2 is replace the culvert and raise the road. That's because of some flooding problems that happens there. And 3, remove the culvert and the road, which would block off a scenic road, you know. So, and put construct a pedestrian bridge over Short Wharf Creek. So if you have any,
Yeah, where'd you get that card? Where'd that card come from?
We sent that out, about a week and a half ago.
I mean, it,
It went to the local residents, but it's also gone on to the
Okay.
website.
I don't know, for a second, local residents being the people who live on Thatcher Shore Road.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
adjoining streets.
How did you get it? Through the historical
the
society?
the
or-
trust has an abutting property.
Okay.
Could I make a suggestion on that?
Sure.
Till Conservation
When-
Commission.
When there was some, discussion in conservation about proposed work, and Jeff will probably remember, that was gonna take place along, down near Bethel. They talked about the neighborhood. And I don't live near there, but I'm not, I said, well, basically, I'm not in the neighborhood. You know, I mean, you go down there, you know the area very well. Something like this touches the same nerve. That Thatcher Shore Road is of interest only to the people who live along there. You know that that's not true. The people walk there, they bike down there. My kid used to keep a boat down there. Down in the old, we call it the old wharf down there. But please, if you're gonna send something like that out, send it to everybody. You know, I mean, I know it's an arduous thing, but I know nothing of this except some discussion of conservation about the culvert. But please don't restrict it just to the neighborhood. It's just not appropriate.
Oh, I so agree with Paul.
Okay, all right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
down there all the time
We,
too.
yeah, okay. We have put it out to social media, but I do recognize that doesn't always reach. I mean, if you're watching, then you
So-
might.
So in place of that, because any mailing isn't gonna get out in time, could a robocall from the town clerk go out or from DPW go out saying, hey, you know, at least 2 or 3 days ahead of time, that this is what's gonna go on and this is what the issue is? I mean, if people aren't interested, they're gonna hang up on the call, but at least receiving it, I was notified. You know what I'm saying?
Police department's in charge
They
of
won't
the
do that very often.
reverse calls.
What's important
And
here
then
is,
what's the date on the hearing?
February
February.
18th. I
Because I
believe.
was,
What?
you.
February
18.
18.
You might be able to get it.
on the 18th, yeah, what's important is, which they don't address here, is that it's the only road that's parallel to 6A. So if you have an accident, or for
Right.
some reason 6A is closed off,
That's not gonna
that's
be,
the only parallel road.
Yeah.
Between Dennis and Bonstable on the north side.
And it's yeah.
I mean, there was a water main break. Well, one day I was going to church and something was happened. And I actually had to go up on Thatcher Shore Road to
And
get
down
to get
the road,
around
yeah.
it to get to Bonstable.
this is. I don't know.
Well, we, honestly, the idea of ending the road and putting cul-de-sacs on each side, it's, first of all, it's complicated. But I think in the back of our minds, we've never believed that that had much of a chance, but it is an option. I mean, so, but we're just in discussion right now, so it doesn't, you know.
You can't close that
We
road.
have to replace the culvert. That's because it's,
Old.
there's a sinkhole in the road, which is not a good sign. So something has to be done, but, you know, ending the road is an option, but I fully expect. So,
You have to negotiate with town of Barnstable. A lot of people go down Kevin Lane over the bridge around Thatcher Shore, you know.
Go over the bridge.
Yeah.
yeah, we went to town council. It would have to be voted on by the town. I didn't hear anything about Barnstable though.
No, Barnstable, you go into Barnstable, when you go down Kevin Lane, you're in Barnstable. And then, Kevin Lane, you find that the weight of the water down to, the old fortress, we call it, is in town of Yarmouth property. Yeah, I would think, because you go past the sign for Barnstable, then you get to Kevin, and then you go down.
Yeah.
So you go through Barnstable to get to Yarmouth. right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Something for them definitely to
I
look
tell
at.
people we're taking the scenic road.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall we go into executive session?
No other committee member updates?
Committee. Anybody on their committees have anything to share?
So, as you're all aware, the town has put out a request for proposals.
Right.
For companies interested in helping the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution in 2026. And you probably have read Yarmouth, with the help of some great researchers, has found that it had at least 400 residents who were participants in the American Revolution. Our commission has shepherded a project to build a monument to those 403 plus residents that will be located 6A in Union Street. And we've got provide for construction. The design funding is in hand. Anyhow, we got 5 possible proposals to the RFP, and each one is as interesting as the other. Look like very competent companies with a lot of good ideas. We're very excited about the early progress on the project. We have to keep it moving because it turns out that it takes a long time to get a big piece of granite and to carve all those names in it. 6. Anyhow, it's moving forward nicely, and we think we'll have good progress to report. Okay, when the warrant
Well,
comes up.
Recreation is very, very into this because we did Thatcher Road, Park over again and Fred Thatcher.
Yeah.
And we started this, we were getting medals and buttons and everything they were digging up, and
Wow.
it was very interesting, the stuff they were doing.
Yeah.
And that went on, my God, they started that years ago. I've been on committee recreation 35 years. And they started that shortly after. They were looking into it. Then we went down and saw them digging it up and finding all these artifacts, So I think it's.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be very careful, because especially the houses on the northeast corner by Damaris.
Yes.
I think that was Bill Barnett's house. Anytime he did any gardening, he was always uncovering any number of artifacts, so when they do the digging, they're gonna have to do it carefully.
Carefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's more stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
The land where the park park it was a site for drills. during that
Yes,
period.
right. Now, where would this ornament,
You know, the playground property is like a triangle.
Yeah.
And the narrow part is at the north. And
The North Point.
yeah, that's what
The
I
North
thought,
Point.
yeah.
monument
I
is
thought.
not too far from where the flagpole is.
Because there's parking on the east side right there too. Yeah.
I know people were complaining with the park and the basketball, and they say, "You kids with the basketball at 8, 9 o'clock at night." And one of the police said, "Really? Well, we want you to get out and throw them out and this and that." So Al Sprague went down there and he goes, "Oh, wait just a minute, guys." Went back to the cruiser, put on the big lights and said, "Continue on. It's better than breaking into someone's house."
So the problem was, I believe the park was mandated for small children. And when they put up the 2 hoops,
Yes,
it was the teenagers that were playing the basketball, so I took 1 hoop down. So that the little kids could just practice
Yeah,
and
but
keep
they-
it to it.
They don't.
It was
Should've-
age,
they should've
it was age restricted.
oh,
Yeah.
you know, some of these teenage kids don't. I do the diversion program through the courts, and I'm telling you, they're disrespectful.
So they
kids.
play half court.
Yeah, so they play half, but they'll do what they have to do, you know?
Yeah.
But- I don't know.
Anybody else from the committees? Conservation? Nothing? No. All right, we'll move on to the executive session. You have to come off of Zoom for that?
You
Yes.
can read the motion and you can vote during the open session, and then I'll shut Zoom down.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
make a-
Lee, except Lee's there.
I make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, as conducting an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town. The meeting will adjourn following executive session and not reconvene in open session. In favor?
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, three of them, say
This will have to be a voice vote.
yes.
Judy, I.
Paul, I.
David, I.
Christine, aye.
And you have Lee. Lee, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, yes, I,
Okay.
My
So-
suggestion is you could close this Zoom link down, which is public, and if you can quickly send Lee another link or invite her. Lee, do you have Microsoft Teams?
Microsoft
Teams?
Teams, yes, I do. Well, I don't have it, but I can log into it. Because that's what the county uses.
You can call her that way if you want.
All right, then I will try to call you on Teams, Lee.
We're
Okay,
gonna close
we have
the
to
Zoom
close
down, Lee,
this.
Okay.
And then call you on Teams.
Okay.